Okay, we'll give everybody a few seconds to get settled in. I'd like to remind commissioners, when you'd like to speak, please unmute yourself, state your name. Also, we're going to do the touchscreen voting today.
Yeah,
Yes?
if you want to mention that. We'll do our best.
Okay. Ready? Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to call to order the March 21st, 2023 Senior Citizen Commission meeting at 2:00 p.m. Have we done roll call? Okay.
We can let the record show all commissioners are present except for Angel and Martin.
Commissioner Hanwood, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Today we have a couple of special presentations. First, we'd like to introduce Margaret Hamer, our Recreation Services Manager. Would you like to say a few things?
Yes, thank you for allowing me to be at this meeting. My name is Margaret Hamer. I'm an accomplished certified Parks and Recreation professional with over 2 decades.
Can you hear me now? Sorry about that. I'll start again. I'm an accomplished certified Parks and Recreation professional with over 2 decades of municipal government experience. I worked for City of San Clemente and City of Carlsbad and in all areas of recreation, including senior services, as well as youth and adult sports, aquatics, permits, special events, customer service, you name it, I have done it. And I am very honored and excited to be serving the city of Encinitas now and working with your commission. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And our next presenter is Stephen Gonzalez, the Homeless Solutions Manager for City of Encinitas, and he's in the Development Services Department. Thank you, Stephen, for being here today.
There we are. Is that a little perfect? Yeah, thank you for allowing me to share with you today some of the work that's being done for the city of Encinitas and their homeless population. As you said, I'm Stephen Gonzalez, the Homeless Solutions Manager for the city of Encinitas, and today I have with me Christina Harper from McAllister Institute. They are our contracted provider for outreach, for case management, and they are here exclusively in the city of Encinitas. Prior to becoming the Homeless Solutions Manager, I was a program specialist for the County of San Diego's Office of Homeless Solutions and supervised a team of social workers in North County. In June of 2020, I was the only county social worker in North County conducting field outreach in the midst of the pandemic. I assisted with transporting and scheduling COVID-19 testing and vaccination process, completed referral process, and isolation hotels and temporary lodging for the homeless population that contracted COVID-19. As the lead social worker for the HOPE Project, I collaborated with Encinitas Sheriff's Department and community partners to conduct ongoing outreach for persons experiencing homelessness and provided community resources and county services for total continuity of care. I participated in regular field operations with the sheriff's deputies and a variety of community partners to visit areas of concern and identified by the city of Encinitas, the business owners, community members, and conducted additional late night and early morning outreach with the sheriff's department to seek out high community concern areas and provide resources for individuals not contacted during regularly scheduled operations. Currently, I have the pleasure of coordinating the response to homelessness for the city of Encinitas, and part of my role as the Homeless Solutions Manager is to focus on implementing the Homeless Action Plan, manage the established working groups, coordinate with and participate in regional homeless meetings, establish and maintain partnerships, and respond, develop, and enhance the city's homelessness responsive activities. In my experience, the ability to respond to the issue arising from a growing number of unhoused residents is complex, complicated, and requires a focused effort to leverage partners, resources, and strategies. Our Homeless Action Plan consists of 3 main goals. The first goal is to increase the capacity of the city and the community to end homelessness in Encinitas through the development of a collaborative, community-driven approach. Goal number 2 is to decrease the number of individuals experiencing homelessness through demand-driven, person-based homeless response and supportive housing services system. Goal 3 is to increase the availability of temporary and permanent housing. So the actions taken to achieve the Homeless Action Plan goal number 1 is to, first, by creating community work groups. And those will be quarterly meetings, will be informative and educational to share new homeless services and resources to assist in a collaborative effort. That's also one of the goals that I'd like to open up to you guys. We are looking for members to participate, and I believe this would be a good forum to have the Senior Commission on part of those working groups. I also plan to invite the Chamber of Commerce, local business owners, faith-based organizations to really help provide some feedback and to bring up some solutions moving forward for that population. So that's goal number 1. Those are gonna be meetings that will be created. Hopefully the first one will be in April, coming soon. And taking an interjurisdictional approach to North County's city collaborative, these cities will be working together on a micro level rather than independently in a silo, which we've seen in the past. Cities independently, hold on to resources, and coming from the county, I see it on a bigger level that I'd like to be able to work with our sister cities, neighboring cities, to be able to share these resources and strategies. And that's going to be part of our first strategy for goal number 1. The actions taken for goal number 2, collaborating with local skilled nursing facilities, Village Square Healthcare Center, right around the corner. That's who we're working with currently, and they provide homeless outreach assessments for immediate placement for our senior population with chronic and severe medical issues. We have successfully worked with them, over the past month in having a social worker from the skilled nursing facility come out to the streets and conduct the critical assessments and transport the individuals and place them that day, which has been really nice to have that support. Also, part of goal 2 is coordinating with the local hospitals and Scripps, for instance, for a more collaborative discharge process for our homeless population. Too often, we see after discharge, our unsheltered populations at parks, bus stops, and benches with nothing but hospital gowns on. We'll be including the hospital social workers in our quarterly meetings to coordinate a more comprehensive discharge process. I believe it's super important to work with the social workers from Scripps so we can come up with a better discharge process. Goal 3 is to increase the availability of temporary and permanent housing. We are working on a 6-month pilot project that would allow for immediate shelter placement in a non-congregate transitional housing. So this would accept the individuals that are low to no barrier. Transitional housing would be for people experiencing homelessness exclusively in the city of Encinitas. We'd be providing stabilization plans, housing navigation services for permanent housing, and access to treatment facilities and other supportive services. This transitional housing would be able to hold up to 24 individuals at a time, which would be nice to be able to have, when we're out conducting outreach, whether it's with the Sheriff's Department or independently, to be able to immediately bring people that are willing and wanting to move forward and be able to get them off the street right then that day. So homelessness by the numbers, this is some of the data that we were able to compile and the outcomes for 2022. In 2022, data showed we had 273 unduplicated contacts. So those are individuals that we contacted for the very first time. I mean, we have thousands of duplicated contacts because we need to build the rapport, move slowly at their pace, what they're willing to present and share. However, that's 273 people, new people in the city that we contacted last year. 62 of them were seniors. In 2022, we housed 43 males, 33 females were housed, for a total of 76 individuals we housed in 2022. We connected 14 people experiencing homelessness through family reunification. So what that looks like is we were able to work with individuals that shared with us that potentially they have family in different states that they either lost contact with, not able to get a hold of due to not having a phone or contact information, or just ready to go home and to be off the street. So that's what the family reunification looked like. 17 people experiencing homelessness were entered into interim housing. That's basically shelters that are strewn throughout the county. 11 children were housed and 31 seniors were housed. 9 veterans were housed, and we had a 100% success rate with housing our veterans. Every veteran that was homeless in the city of Encinitas that wanted to work with us and allowed us to provide the service was housed. 11 people experiencing homelessness entered the Safe Parking Program from outreach efforts, the JFS. Some of the next steps that we're working towards is a recuperative care proposal. This would benefit the elderly homeless population as there would be reserved beds for the city of Encinitas for acute and post-acute medical care. The nice thing is we do have a relationship built with a skilled nursing facility. However, if those beds are filled, we do have to do some additional searching and looking for places to be able to put the individuals that are immediately ready to go into a skilled nursing facility. This recuperative care proposal would allow us to have beds on reserve for the city, specifically for us. So in case our other resources were not available, we would be able to immediately have placement for them. We're also seeking a new service provider to address the mental health needs and provide supportive services in the city of Encinitas, such as focused outreach, treatment, crisis stabilization unit, and the mobile crisis response team. So those are some different mental health components that I feel that the city really needs to address, some gaps that I've seen. And then of course the transitional housing project, that's the 6-month pilot project for low to no barrier housing solutions that will be exclusively for the city. The Safe Parking Program, the Jewish Family Services, is a great program. They've been able to help a lot of people throughout the county. The Safe Parking Program has designated parking lots for people living out of their vehicle to safely stay overnight with services to navigate them towards permanent housing. The services provided were overnight parking space, restrooms, housing navigation, job training, mental health treatment, 24-hour security, and access to substance abuse treatment. These are the little information on the hours of operation and how to connect with them. And so who's the Safe Parking Program for? Normally what we see is older adults living on a fixed income who cannot afford the rent, community college students trying to make ends meet while prioritizing their education, families who've fallen on hard times due to unanticipated medical bill or loss of job and need assistance connecting to the resources, or recently transitioned veterans who are struggling to navigate their next steps and find a new job. Community resources that are available, throughout the city. We have the street outreach. That's the HOPE team that I was currently on, that we currently work with the county social worker, sheriff's deputy, the McAllister Institute. Those are the main resources that we have in the moment that are out every single day in the streets. We do have, of course, the CRC for the drop-in center, case management. They offer food and other services. We work closely with faith-based organizations such as St. Andrews that provide the meals and showers, and we've set up a visiting center so they can receive their mail, and we hope to expand on that, and they'll definitely be part of the working group that we have to explore some of the other services that we can offer in Encinitas. The Safe Parking Program, parking lot is located in the Senior and Community Center. And then, of course, we have temporary housing programs through the CRC, and that's in the city right now. It's really just the domestic violence shelter. That's Carol's House, and the winter interfaith shelter network. That's the winter shelter that rotates throughout the cities. The CRC has been a huge resource for our city, and these are some of the different programs that they have: the Rapid Rehousing Program and Opening Doors through Encinitas. CRC facilitates a HUD-funded rapid rehousing project. This project is you're only able to enroll participants referred to them via the coordinated entry system. That's the homeless management information system that the whole county, that we all use as providers to be able to identify and connect individuals with resources. However, there are a number of participants enrolled in the program who are experiencing homelessness in Encinitas. The same may be true for other organizations like Interfaith Community Service. Encinitas Opening Doors is on the council agenda for approval to begin its 8th year. The Opening Doors provides emergency and short-term assistance to families and individuals experiencing homelessness here in Encinitas. This program provides transportation assistance, deposit, rent, employment-related assistance, application support, case management, emergency bridge, hotel vouchers, family reunification support, and other flexible funding support to help folks into permanent housing. So these are efficient ways for the city to get the appropriate resources deployed to assist them with the concerns. We have a homelessness contact. It's a direct line, so this number goes directly to me, and I'm able to respond within 24 hours. We also have the My Encinitas app and report an issue online, the city's website. These are two of the best ways. We have it go directly to our teams, whether that's Parks and Rec, Public Works, depending on what that need is. And then, of course, the Sheriff's dispatch line for non-emergency numbers. With me today is also Christina Harper with McAllister Institute, and let her share a little bit about what she does for our city.
McAllister Institute is a substance abuse and alcohol treatment center, so our main focus is assisting clients who have substance abuse and alcohol disorder, and we have 10 different outpatients. The closest ones to Encinitas is Oceanside and Escondido. We also have a treatment, detox treatment, which is called Kiva Detox. It's in Lemon Grove. And through that program, there is a residential program for both males and females. And while the females are going through that program, they do provide childcare if they have children that they need to take care of. And then I am contracted to the city, so I also do have access to flex funds. So that would be like providing first month's rent and deposit for clients, along with providing motel vouchers as long as we have a housing plan in place.
Been super fortunate and successful with the family reunification. That's where these flex funds have come into place. that normally, due to being on a timeline, we would not be able to count on the county or any other entity to help with that immediate placement or getting them to where they need. And having the flex funds available is great to be able to make that happen immediately. Thank you, Christina. Here's my contact information. Please feel free to reach out at any time. I'm always available and open for any suggestions or feedback, or to answer any additional questions. Let's see. The last slide has the link to the city's action plan and additional homeless resources. Thank you again for your time and consideration, and looking forward to helping this population as much as we can. I know it's a big task, but I've been here for many years in this city and in North County, and very clued into what those gaps in services are and how to be resourceful enough to be able to make that match and provide people with the assistance that they need. So, yeah, thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Stephen. Commissioners, do we have some questions for Stephen?
Commissioner Koblenz, how do we sign up
For
the homeless action plan? Did you not ask for our help?
I do, yes. So what I'm going to be doing is I've taken notes, pictures actually of who's here, just the names, just so I can reach out and send you an email, follow-up email. And I'd like to be able to provide that invitation to meet with us. Like I said, I believe it's going to be probably the last week in April, just to give you some kind of an idea. And I'm flexible with changing that. And it will be, and I'd also like to get a little bit of your feedback. My initial intent is to have it quarterly, but it may be something that we may need to do every other month. I really want to get some traction, and of course, the feedback from those that know, those that have been here for many years. So yes, I will be providing that information.
And thank you so much. I think this is a vital part of what the commission intention is. So thank you for your expertise and your willingness.
Yeah, thank you. And like you said, and I know you guys know that, but I believe that the community support and their feedback and engagement in this issue is huge. I mean, and I'm one individual. Of course, we have all types of resources and in the connections with the county and everywhere else, but I mean, we really do need to kind of come together and, come up with some solutions. So, yeah, thank you again. I appreciate it.
Commissioner Fry, I have a question.
Yes.
Do the people that go to the safe parking lot, do they have to be residents of Encinitas, or?
So, no, and that's one of the things that I'm going to try to work on that contract a little bit. And I know this is getting a little bit out in the weeds, but in the contract next time, if we're able to renew it, I'd like to be able to see that there are a certain amount of spots saved for Encinitas residents. I mean, we really do need an opportunity for those that we're working with here in the city, that we can say, yes, immediately we have placement for you, so we can work on that next transitional step to permanent housing or whatever that issue is. And unfortunately at times, because there's only 25 spots that are open, that what we see is, we're out there, we're working with them, they want to come in, but we have to send them to Balboa. We have to send them to an alternative lot, which is fine. They still get that help and assistance that they need. However, it takes them out of their familiar circle, their environment of where their resources, their family, their friends, the places that they know and they're used to. So that's what I'd like to be able to do, is to be able to keep them closer to home. I feel that when you have the support system or the familiarity of that, the transition happens a lot sooner.
Steve,
I also have
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, Commissioner Farley, I have a question about, are you familiar with the assisted living waiver program for the seniors?
Through IHSS, is that through the county?
It is through the county.
Yes.
I'm not sure it's through.
I
it's through
do not have
IHH.
I don't have the specifics on it, but yes, I am familiar with a little bit of that.
Anyway, I mean, I could probably, explain it a little in better detail if I come to one of these meetings. But to me, it's a perfect solution for senior homelessness issues. It might not, address all of the homelessness issues, but when it comes to seniors, this is a really great program.
Yeah, no, please. I mean, I'd love, And like I said, I'm really looking for a good group of individuals. You know, a lot of times we have meetings just to have meetings, and I don't want to have a meeting just to have a meeting, you know? I really want to invite and introduce individuals that, you know, we're looking to, you know, put a plan into action and find solutions. So yes, please, that would be amazing. Appreciate your time. Yeah.
Stephen, this is Commissioner Ling. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a voice for the Homeless Action Plan, which has been around for a little while, and we hadn't heard much about it, so it's nice to see that the ball is rolling again.
Yeah, thank you. I really want to operationalize it, right? We want to put it into action. Let's.
Yes, I agree. That's the middle name.
Yeah, that's it.
I have a kind of a fundamental question for you. So if you go to social media, you've got all sorts of opinions. If you go to some of the community resources, they have some perspective on this. But fundamentally, how do you become a homeless person in Encinitas?
Truly, I believe it happens with, one of the biggest component, I believe, is just that it happens with age when you're no longer in the workforce, right? And you have to rely on Social Security. Social Security, the amount that we have seen, 95% of the individuals that are homeless, I mean, we're talking somewhere between $700 to $1,100 a month. I mean, that is absolutely almost, and I don't want to use the word impossible, but in order to find, you know, stable housing, the basic human needs, you know, maybe you have a storage unit, your car insurance, I mean, all of the other bills that we have, I mean, just truly just not enough money to afford to live in this particular area. And I don't mean just Encinitas, just in North County in general. However, I have been successful working with or through other cities, for instance, Escondido, Vista, are some of the places that we're able to find some lower income housing, right, to be able to meet some of those needs. But really the overall, to answer your question, sir, is the income. I mean, that's pretty much where it all stems from. I mean, we do have those that have the mental health challenges, the substance use disorder. However, as soon as they're willing to really take a look at themselves, a look at the behavior, and want to make that change, there are resources put in place for that. That is something that we can, you know, get them help with and to move forward from that. But really, that when you're only receiving this amount of money and, you know, employment may not be there for you to be able to have additional income. I mean, that's really hard to find, to make those connections and those ends meet. Yeah.
Thank you. And I think you understand now why this commission is particularly interested in the homeless situation.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, everybody's aging, everybody's getting older. There's going to be I believe the silver tsunami is the term that has been used before, and of just that growing population. And, you know, in order to have some of these action plans, these processes in place will only be, you know, allow us to be proactive to be able to help those that are coming of age that, you know, are no longer in the workforce, that are receiving their Social Security, and it's just not enough. We, you know, got to be able to do something about that.
This is Commissioner Hanwood. I have a quick question for you. You gave us the numbers for 2022. I think you said 243 people. Has that number increased over the years, or is it, I know there are probably more and more services that we're trying to provide.
It has. I've been in the city since 2020, and every year, you know, I've provided those reports and those statistics and numbers, and it has creeped up every year, and, you know, we could attribute it to a number of reasons, you know, the pandemic, loss of income, you know, Encinitas is a great place to live, you know, but yes, ma'am, it is increasing, and so, you know, having some of these processes in place are going to be super critical to be able to attend and address the concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Koblenz, one more quick question. We all count. I have not seen the results yet. When are they due out?
Yes, they should be. Please don't hold to me. That's RTFH. However, normally we will see that at the end of April, so they should be coming out within the next month. However, I've heard a little bit of some of the different counts, and just as you, the numbers are definitely up. So, yeah, but it'll be nice to actually get that definitive number. Well, and that's the thing, right? Is it really truly definitive? I mean, I've been a part of the count for every year for the past 5 years, and you know, I know that there are so many people that we didn't reach out to, that we didn't touch, and you know, we weren't able to count. So you know, we have to work with the numbers that we get, I guess. So. Any other questions, yes, sir?
Mr. Gonzalez, Peter Tobias. A couple of quick questions, but first, could you just put your contact info back up on the screen?
Absolutely.
You said there were 25 parking spaces available.
Yes.
How many could you actually use?
I think double that would be amazing. I mean, however, you know, we have to think about logistics and, you know, what's obtainable and what that number would be. However, I think that having 10, you know, 5 to 10 dedicated spots for residents of Encinitas would be great. I'd love to be able to keep people, you know, where their home is, where they're used to. I mean, so many of them are we find in different alleys and different church parking lots, and you know, parked in front of you know, residential areas where, you know, the city is you know, constantly getting reports of, you know, hey, this vehicle's been here for this amount of time. It would be so nice to be able to, you know, take that individual and say, yep, we have a safe place for you. These are the resources that come with us, and you know, let's continue to develop those stabilization plans.
Is homelessness seasonal?
You know, you do see an influx during the summertime. However, it is constant and it is just tending to grow. So I've been tracking that, you know, quarterly, and for the past 4 years, every quarter has increased. However, we do see an influx during summertime just because of the weather's beautiful. The beaches are, you know, wonderful. You know, everywhere else in the country may not be as, you know, nice of weather, right? So in the coaster, definitely allows people to be able to travel up and down the coast. So yes, during summertime, we do see an influx, spring and summer.
Actually, on the basis of weather, I would think winter would be the spark, but I mean, there's winter everywhere else in the country.
There is, right? And, you know, we don't, I mean, I know today, in the past couple of weeks have, you know, been a little different, but, you know, the weather is not as bad, comparatively speaking, to other parts of the nation and, you know, the state. So, you know, we do see that influx as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Clerk Gilliam, looks like we have some oral communication speakers today?
We do. There are 2 speakers, Diana Manuzzi, followed by Amy Stook. And just remember, you have 3 minutes to address the commission.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Diana Minuzzi, librarian, branch manager at Encinitas Library. So I am here to remind everyone about programming. So I left some flyers about March programming, and I will be focusing briefly on programs that totally connect to the senior population or are intergenerational. So we continue with AARP through April 14th. Please remember that. They are still taking appointments. We have added sessions to some of the programs, like poetry program, Awaken the Poet Within. So now instead of twice a month, it's offered instead of once a month, it's offered twice a month. It's the second and fourth Saturday of the month. It's also brought to Art Night as a special event. We have included sessions to the chess program, which is totally intergenerational and very successful. So chess is offered every Friday of the month. And we are we are piloting this idea, the living room conversations, which is a way for people to connect, and they join through guided conversations about personal stories and perspectives. So the first one will be Friday, April 7th. The first topic would be communicating with care. And then we'll have another session May 5th. And June 2nd, and then we'll see how it goes. But we are very very happy about being able to bring this program. Also, I hope that your program, which is also intergenerational, youth or teens help the seniors with their IT issues. So we post it, and we want to let you know that the library is there for you if you ever want to partner and if you ever want to bring that program to the library. We have recruited now 6 service learners, so they are teens and they are very knowledgeable and about ITs, so they can also help. And please remember that we consider we're 3 solid partners. It's the library partnering with the city and with the Friends of the Library. And we are here, and you can reach out to us with questions, with ideas, or just collaboration. Okay, thank you.
I have
Thank
a
you, Diana.
question, Commissioner Farad.
no
I
questions
just have a
for-
question.
No questions for oral.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Diana.
Hi, good afternoon, Commission. My name is Amy Stuck. I was here last month. I'm a resident of Cardiff by the Sea. I was here to introduce the council to the concept of the village that we are starting here in Encinitas and Cardiff. Following our meeting last time, Maureen, Commissioner Turner, reached out to us to meet, and we had a nice coffee date together, and she had a lot of questions about the village. And since then, we have scheduled a meeting, actually at the library, a community meeting on May 11th at noon, just to start to educate the community on the village. And we wanted to bring the council's attention to the Village Movement California. This is a grassroots community coalition that, together with partners, they seek to revolutionize the experience of aging. The Village Movement California is spreading the word about California villages, their successes, and the potential to transform aging. They are launching a incubator in the state of California to help communities who want to start villages in their community, to help them each all along the steps and all the processes to start that. So we're going to get connected to that. And we just wanted to clarify that we are not seeking any funding from the city. This is just to educate you on what's happening, and our goal to bring our community together to enable seniors to age in place for as long as possible by supporting each other through, social engagement, which I love to hear about what the library has to offer. And of course, I invite you individually and personally if you would like to be a part of this effort. And so we're just going to keep you informed all along the way as we get started in this effort. So we thank you for your time.
Thank you. And thank you to both speakers for keeping us informed about what's going on.
Question for the chair, please. Do we get, in the minutes, are the names and contacts of speakers provided?
Generally, no, but I think if you want to request,
Well, I'd be interested in contacting both of these speakers, and I don't know how to do it, so.
I think Manager Goodsell can provide that for you. Are you talking about the community speakers or the presenters?
These 2 ladies right here. Steve Gonzalez, I know how to reach. But,
So the names of the speakers are included in the minutes.
any other contact information?
This is Manager Goodsell. You can email me, and I'll work with you outside of this meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Are there any changes to the agenda today?
There are none.
All right, we are up to the agenda item for approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes for February 21st, 2023?
This is Commissioner Hanwood. I make a motion to approve the minutes from February 21st, 2023.
Commissioner Hanwood makes the motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Commissioner Koblenz seconds the motion to approve the minutes of February 21st, 2023.
Commissioner Koblenz seconds. Can we do a touchscreen vote?
Yes. And let the record show the motion passes unanimously.
We are now on action item 8. 8A is the nomination and election of the Senior Citizen Commission Chair and Vice Chair. Sorry, I'll say that again. We're at action item 8, 8A Senior Citizen Commission Chair and Vice Chair election. Everybody feels okay with doing that today? Since we do have 2 commissioners missing. Let's go ahead and start with nominations, please. For Chair.
This is Commissioner Hanwett. I would like to nominate Lambert Ling as the chair for the Senior Citizens Commission.
Commissioner Hanwett nominates Lambert Ling for, Commissioner Hanwett nominates Lambert Ling for chair. Is there a second?
Commissioner Farley, I'd like to second the nomination.
Okay, I accept the nomination. Are there any other nominations for chair? Okay, moving on.
Well,
Oh,
so you are now chair since there are no other nominations. Congratulations.
Thank you. Nobody wants my job. Let's proceed on with the nominations for vice chair. Do I hear any nominations? And it needs to be commissioners who are present.
Commissioner Farley, I'd like to nominate Commissioner Howitt for vice chair.
Commissioner Koblenz, I'd like to second that nomination.
Commissioner Hamlet, do you accept the nomination?
This is Commissioner Hanwett. I'll accept that nomination.
Are there any other nominations for vice chair?
Seeing there are none, Commissioner Hanwett, you are vice chair. Congratulations.
Okay, moving on to action item 8B. This is the finalizing the 2022-2023 work plan outcomes and then preparing the fiscal year 2023-24 Senior Citizen Commission work plan. So we have a chance to put in the last minute outcomes for last year.
If this is Manager Goodsell, if there's anything missing on the outcomes for this work plan, 2022-23, let me know now and I can add it, and then you'll want to approve it with those additions.
Okay.
If it's fine as is, you can approve it as is. Please note that anything that you did this month would go on the new work plan as an outcome. So this includes everything through February.
Okay. Are there any changes or additions that we want to make for the outcomes of the previous work plan?
Commissioner Koblenz, clarification. So this is what we've done. We want to make sure there's nothing we want to add before we roll to next year.
Mm-hmm. And anything that we've done in March, we add to the new
Okay.
to the new plan.
I can only see to October. Do we have anything? Thank you. Thank you.
Do you want to quickly go through?
Just let me know if you'd like me to scroll.
Okay, go ahead and scroll. You can keep going. I think we're mainly looking for work plan item 4 and later.
Commissioner Koblenz, item number 4, nominations are closed as I understand it. And if I can get clarification, there appears to be another question about the voting that came up. So there's been a request for that voting sheet to be considered. Do we need to do it here, or does it need to roll over?
This is Manager Goodsell. The ad hoc committee and the Rotary members that are participating in the ratings can collectively decide what they want to do with that rating sheet. And then you'll make your recommendation and bring that recommendation as a committee to the full commission at the next meeting, and we'll have it on the agenda.
Thank you.
Okay, so I do have something for work plan item 5, and that is, I guess that fell in March. So the techie tutor thing, we'll just go ahead and put that into the March plan. Okay. No, I think we're good. That's the last one. Okay, so no other changes, no changes.
Can you please make a motion to approve
Okay.
the outcomes?
Can we make a motion to approve the outcomes for the 2022-23 work plan for the Senior Citizen Commission? Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the outcome for 2022-23 action work plan.
Commissioner Koblenz makes the motion. Do I have a second?
This is Commissioner Hanwood. I'll second that motion.
Okay, and we get to vote.
It didn't show on the screen, but it passed unanimously. There we go.
There
A
it
little
is.
delay.
Motion passes. Okay, moving on to the second part of agenda item 8B, which is to prepare the fiscal year 2023-24 Senior Citizen Commission work plan. So thank you, Manager Goodsell, for incorporating a lot of the changes that we talked about last time. I think one of the things that we talked about last meeting was we really wanted to emphasize promoting an outreach in as many of the work plan items as possible. That's something I think previous years we've always talked about it, but it never found its way into the work plan. And I see that it's in there now, and we can even further emphasize that if we want. Agenda item 1, attend city-sponsored and city-partnered local community events serving as ambassadors. That is the stated goal. All members are involved on an individual basis. The timeline is, of course, March 2023 to February 2024. Nominal financial impacts. And the outcomes are commissioners volunteer as needed at city-sponsored and city-partnered events. So I have, any questions about that? Is that pretty straightforward so far? I have a question. My question is, can work plan item 1 include senior-related events, seminars, and so on that are at the community center, at the Community and Senior Center? And also, we just heard from Diana Minuzzi, also potentially senior activities and programs at the library.
This is Manager Goodsell. It would include city-sponsored events at the Community and Senior Center, as well as our partner, which is the county library. That would also be part of work plan item number 1. If it's an outside organization that you want to volunteer with, that would fall in line with work plan goal number 3, it looks like.
Okay, fair enough. So if we can, I think if we can add to outcomes, this includes city-sponsored events at the Community and Senior Center and at the Encinitas Library. We just add that to outcomes. Is everybody okay with that? Work plan item 2. Identify guest speakers for monthly meetings to provide education regarding topics related to senior citizens and find platforms to disseminate the information to senior citizens. All members are involved. I think we've done, this past year, we've got some amazing presenters, I think. I think we probably didn't do as good a job as we could have to disseminate that information to more people. So the outcomes, what I've suggested is, in addition to the outcome that's listed now, commissioners gain awareness and understanding of topics relevant to special project goals outlined in the commission work plan and educate senior citizens in the community. I wanted to pick your brains on how do we do outreach to promote some of these guest speakers?
Commissioner Koblenz, I have a couple ideas. Actually, I have several, but I'll start with just the basics. I think using different social medias are a good way to start. I think the platforms, there's some other situations, all this being under the consideration that everything that's done must be approved by the city prior to any dissemination. I've also suggested that we possibly, and I think we've talked about this before, see if we can get some type of personal stories in the newspapers and then possibly go through that. I think another one of our biggest opportunities is ourselves and promote what we have going on. I think it's something that now that we are moving about the cabin and we have more activities that we can do that in a much different way.
Okay, so I agree with Commissioner Koblenz. I think we ought to be able to say something along the lines that individual commissioners will do what they can to provide additional outreach and promotion. The other thing that I was a little surprised about, and this is back to the Techie Tutors event, one of the questions that we asked as we were doing intake for the participants was, where did you hear about this? And a surprisingly large number of them said, we heard it from the newspaper. We read it in the UT or the Advocate or the Coast News. I was not expecting that answer. So it seems like a lot of our constituents read the paper still. So I'm wondering if when we have speakers that are worthy of their interest, can we put out a brief press release that gets into the papers?
So if the commissioners want to draft a press release, they would just need to run it past city staff for approval for any edits, and then the city would go ahead and distribute it to our media contacts, and if the papers pick it up, great.
Okay, so the challenge for us, of course, is we often don't find out until relatively a few days before, maybe a week before, who the speaker is.
So I think one thing that the commission could do is to provide a list in advance of what speakers they want, and then I can go seek those speakers out and get them on the schedule, and then you'll know exactly who's coming up and when.
Okay,
Does that work?
yes.
Okay.
Any other suggestions?
And just to let you know, for next month, I've scheduled the County of San Diego Age Well 2.0 to speak, and also PACE.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
So these are things we can start looking to draft a press release now so that it's ready to go. Okay. Does everybody follow that? We should try to line up these speakers well in advance so that we're aware of the schedules, we're aware of the content, and that way we can draft press releases well in advance so they can go into the paper. Any other comments?
This is Commissioner Hanwood. I was thinking that, we made contacts with over 55 places with our Vial of Life, that if there was a way to put, even if it was just the agenda for the meeting, or, if somebody was creative enough to put a flyer, make a flyer up, that would be another way to get information out to those people. There weren't that many of them that we couldn't.
I know somebody on staff who's really good at flyers, but, so that would be another thing, is to provide flyers well in advance of the regular meeting, and let people know that there is a Senior Citizen Commission meeting every month.
Commissioner Farley, I was thinking about having an area, like a resource center area in the senior center, where you could pick up calendars or flyers of different senior events that are going on in the community. I know right now we have kind of like a display area for different organizations, but you could almost, if like a long-term goal would be great if we could actually get a representative from these organizations to rotate within that, like maybe a room, some sort of office where they could answer questions. And that, the fourth Tuesday of every month, there's going to be a PACE representative in the resource center to answer questions for the seniors. That's just an example, but something along those lines.
Commissioner Koblenz, it's part of one of the items on the work plan that we've been working with, that I've been working with Manager Goodsell, and it's you're absolutely right on with regard to that. I think that's how we expand, so thank you.
Okay.
If I might, Mr. Chairman, I think these are all good ideas. I think having a representative at the senior center is great. I think having press releases is great. But I think it's somewhat, it creates an ongoing need for us to generate press releases and so on and so forth. I would really like to suggest that we simply publish in the Advocate a weekly calendar that people could learn to expect would be there. And it would include the speakers at our meetings. It would include who's going to be at the senior center to explain which program. As the chair noted, people read the newspaper. I guess seniors still read paper. I do. And I think just having it become institutionalized as a place for people to look would be very helpful. I think having schedules at the senior center are fine, but if you're not in the habit of going to the senior center, you're not going to get that schedule.
Right. And I think the challenge for us, Commissioner Tobias, is that we are still relatively invisible.
Precisely.
Yeah. So right now, I think we have to work a little bit to create that visibility until such point that we're actually recognized.
Commissioner Koblenz, thank you. Commissioner Tobias, also part of the work plan that has been under discussion, exactly that, and how we initiate it and continue to do it and keep ourselves out there up front and personal. So I think we're along the same page, and we'll probably be figuring out
Well,
how
that's
to do
great.
it.
I wasn't sure when to bring it up.
I know, it's good. It's good you bring it up now, because then Commissioner Koblenz can say we've got it covered.
This is Manager Goodsell. Just as a reminder, too, what's been agendized is to develop the work plan items.
Yes.
Figuring out how to accomplish the outcomes can be at a later date.
Exactly. All right, we are, I believe, on action item 3, which is to engage as organizers and volunteers with local community service organizations and the Community and Senior Center. And I think actually this past year we've done this more so than in previous years. So thank you for supporting this agenda item. The outcome statement is commissioners can learn more about the needs of senior citizens by participating in community service events and volunteering at the senior center. I wanted to add, because we've been doing this in our regular meetings, but I wanted to sort of formalize this as one of our outcomes, that commissioners and staff shall announce volunteer opportunities as they occur. And at minimum in the monthly meetings to help promote these opportunities and improve engagement. We've been doing that, but I think it's important to make sure that that's stipulated as an outcome. Any other comments about Action 3?
Mr. Chairman, yes. I mentioned at I'm sorry I missed the last meeting. You may have discussed some of these things. But I mentioned my interest in the demographics of the city, sort of what is our senior population. I think the goal of learning more about the needs of senior citizens by participating in events is, it's something we need to do, no question. But I can't help but have the feeling that there is expertise somewhere in this community or another that may already know something about who our seniors are, what they want, and that kind of information. If there isn't, then I think we may need to try to organize something a little more formal than just sort of being there and talking to people. Is this an item, I see you smiling, Mr. Chairman.
That's because I see
something that's already
Commissioner
come up.
Koblenz getting ready to touch the button.
Oh, okay.
Commissioner Koblenz, Commissioner Tobias, thank you. Action plan that I would like to address as we get further down is a new survey.
Great.
And to further respond to your question, I think some of that may just be finding the right speaker from City of Encinitas who can provide us with those. You can go onto the internet and find all sorts of different versions of demographics. I'm not sure which one is actually correct or up to date, but maybe it would be nice to find someone with those numbers, because we do collect this data all the time from City of Encinitas to provide that to us. We actually got a little bit of a cross-section today about senior homeless, right? That's a demographic that we're interested in. So I think we tend to get things piecemeal, depending on who our speakers are, but we can probably try to find someone who can give us the whole picture.
This is Manager Good. So next month, we do have the County of San Diego speaking, the Age Well 2.0 speakers, and so they'll have some demographics to share.
Okay.
But it won't necessarily be specific to Encinitas. It'll be,
It'll be
the
countywide,
county.
yeah. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Changes? We're good? Moving right along. Action item 4. Continue partnership with the Encinitas Rotary Club and explore other Encinitas service club partnerships to recognize or promote the Senior Citizen of the Year and Lifetime Achievement Award. And this is one of, as a reminder, this is one with an ad hoc group, maximum of 3 commissioners. Nominal impact, just to get the recipient plaques. And I was going to add, for each of the remaining ad hoc work items, is to put in a little thing under the financial to say additional funding as needed through grant requests. And we have a specific work plan item for that. So just kind of help connect the dots and remind the ad hoc groups there is opportunity to seek out funding if we need it. And I like the outcome that was crafted by Manager Goodsell. Develop and foster relationships with service clubs in Encinitas to promote, that's the new word, honor and recognize senior citizens in Encinitas who serve as role models, volunteers, and who make a difference in the community. So I think the one thing I would suggest, because one of the discussions I've had with some of the commissioners is this, sometimes it feels like a seasonal thing, right? We get really busy right around the time we want to do nominations, and then there's all the closure events that happen afterwards, and then, of course, the holiday parade. It seems like really, and I talked to, I think, the president of the Rotary Club recently about this too at the Senior Expo. We need to be doing outreach and promotion all year round, because what happens is when we suddenly in February we announce, oh, we're looking for nominations, everyone seems to be surprised, even though this is an annual thing. So I was going to add as an outcome that commissioners in this ad hoc group shall work with the Rotary Club and potentially other service organizations to perform outreach and promotion on behalf of this partnership that we have with the Rotary Club, as well as any others that we happen to form along the way. Any comments or yay, nay, yes?
Commissioner Farley, and along what we were mentioning before about putting together a calendar, I'm sure the Rotary Club has their own publication. I don't know if it's online or if they actually have a physical publication that they put out. But we could work in partnership with them to advertise different speakers, things like that. So I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's exactly the right idea, I think, because there are a lot of partnerships that we've cultivated over the past few years, and it can't hurt to get on their calendar of events. Yeah, that's a good idea.
This is
Any other
Manager
que-
Goodsell. Do you want to select the ad hocs for this work plan item now, or do you want to hold off and solidify the goals first?
I would like to solidify, because I think some of these are going to morph a little bit, and that may cause some commissioners to say, oh, I'd be interested in that one. Let's move. Any other comments on action item 4? Then let's move on to 5. Create new and sustain. Oh, so this is where we separated intergenerational activities from the rest of the programs. And I changed the wording a little bit because it seems that we now have potentially recurring intergenerational activities. We're hoping that we're gonna do techie tutors again. We're hoping that the next single day event will also turn into a recurring event. So I changed the wording slightly to say create new and sustain ongoing intergenerational programming in collaboration with the Encinitas Youth Commission and other service organizations. Again, it's an ad hoc group, 3 commissioners. At this moment, no funding is required, but we add that little disclaimer that says additional funding is needed through grant requests. For outcomes, so as I started going through these, I started coming up with we'll call them the 3 Ps. And that'll be a recurring theme as we start looking at outcomes, I think, from my perspective. And that is to plan, provide, and promote. So when we do these activities within each of the ad hoc groups, we can identify what the needs are, we can propose an event, but then we need to plan, provide, and promote the event. And so back to getting that word promote into each of the work action plans.
Commissioner Farley, I wanted to mention that I really was driven to try to start an intergenerational garden. And with a lot of things happened this year that we weren't able to do that, but I've been speaking to Commissioner Hamwint about grant funds available for this. I guess if we plan for that, it's an idea that if we plan for it now, then we could perhaps apply for a grant for an intergenerational garden.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Koblenz, Commissioner Farley, Chair Farley, no, I'm sorry, Lambert. Point of clarification, where you say, and other service organizations.
So, thank you for asking, Commissioner Koblenz. What I was thinking along the lines of were there are various youth organizations and senior organizations, and even it doesn't necessarily have to be youth and senior. It can be things like the Community Resource Center, the Interfaith Ministries. There are service organizations that could definitely lend a hand or participate in intergenerational activities. Commissioner Farley was mentioning the intergenerational garden. She's spoken to the school, Encinitas Unified School District, about it. So these are all organizations beyond just the 2 commissions that we could have dialogue with to support intergenerational activities. So the one question I have for Manager Goodsell is we have to make sure that these are city-sponsored or city-partnered organizations, right?
That would be ideal. Otherwise, we would be required to have an MOU, and that would go to City Council for approval.
Okay. So we'll try not to do that if we don't have to.
Okay, one additional clarification, where you say, based on survey results, is that the past survey result or the new survey we want to do?
You can do both. So one of the things I also wanted to add for the outcomes, I wanted to say, first, work with the Youth Commission to plan, provide, and promote. There's the 3 Ps again. New and recurring intergenerational events and activities. And I noticed something in the Parks and Recs guide. There was a new term. And I don't know if that's the new politically correct term, but they're calling them the age 50-plus adults. Not seniors, not, so I'll try to incorporate that language where I can. So the outcome is new and recurring intergenerational events. Plan, provide, and promote them, and activities for enrichment of both teens and age 50-plus adults. So it works both ways, potentially. Seniors could also be working with youth. The second outcome I wanted to add was to invite city-partnered community service organizations to participate and contribute to intergenerational programming in Encinitas. And the third one, for Commissioner Koblentz's benefit, but I was thinking about it too, conduct surveys as needed for community feedback and input. So we have a survey that we did 2-3 years ago.
I believe it was 2018.
Yeah, it was a while.
Time flies.
Yeah, we've done the big survey. We did the intergenerational survey close to 3 years ago, I think. So it's probably time for some more surveys, and I think we need to add them in as outcomes. So we separated intergenerational programming from other senior programming, specifically to give the commissioners more opportunity to participate in some of the programs that they want to do. Are there any other changes you feel that we should make for intergenerational programming? Action item 5? No? Action item 6. So this is the spin-off of what was once a combined work action item. And this is to, and I changed the wording a little bit too, to create new and sustain ongoing. And I wanted to say, and maybe this is just my take on it, but it doesn't have to be, but I meant, I said no cost or low cost programs for seniors, meaning no cost or low cost to the seniors. We have a lot of programs that are free to seniors in the Parks and Recreation Guide, and it seems like it would be good to add more of those rather than focus on things that we have to charge for. Is that too narrow, or do we want to?
This is Manager Goodsell. So we have been given the directive that we're basically maxed out at the Community and Senior Center with our space and capacity. We don't have the capacity to be adding additional free senior programs at this time inside the facility. Now, if we want to offer a walking group, something outdoors,
Okay.
that could definitely be a free program. But indoors, we're very limited at this point in
Okay,
time.
that's good to know. And then this is where it was nice that Diana Minuzzi came by to re-emphasize the library's interest in collaborating with this commission. So the other part that I added, so here, let me read the whole thing. Create new and sustaining ongoing no-cost and low-cost programs for seniors, including computer assistance, Failing Fit Club, and class offerings. Well, we may have to change that. Class offerings in the Community and Senior Center, and maybe we say, or the Encinitas Library.
Commissioner Koblenz, could we say including but not limited to?
For no
What you
cost
just
or low cost?
described, yeah.
We could.
So that way we're not plugged into just those identified. So if including but not limited to, then we have more flexibility.
Sure.
Why don't you just say other venues?
We can, but then we have to negotiate with those other venues.
Well, they would have to be appropriate
Okay.
venues.
So what I would say is, I will append to the end of Encinitas Library and say, or other venues.
They would need to be county or municipal or organizations that we have an MOU with currently in order to host one of our programs at another site.
Yeah, that's where it starts to get sticky.
So I would
Other-
stick with the library. We have 2 here in Encinitas.
Yeah. We can try for the other stuff later.
For example, eventually, there's going to be an arts center.
At Parkview, yeah.
So the
Okay.
Cultural Arts Center is part of our department. It's one of the 3 divisions. So it would be appropriate to have programs at the Cultural Arts facility.
Okay.
Commissioner Koblenz, is this the place where we get to designate if we want to be part of the ad hoc on any items? Or not
This-
yet?
This is the one for anything but intergenerational. So intergenerational is primarily our collaboration with the Youth Commission. But if you want to do other, there's more. If you want to do other programs as described here, this is the other one you want to be in. Same disclaimer for fiscal, it's generally NA, not applicable, except for additional funding is needed through grant requests. And for outcome, I just added a word because it was, Manager Goodsell had already said, provide and promote. I said plan, provide and promote new recreational, social, and educational opportunities for age 50-plus adults. Seek and encourage potential instructors to submit class proposals via the RFP process. Should that still be in there, given you're at capacity?
So we would still encourage instructors to submit proposals. I don't know what the RFP process is going to look like. We may just want to say submit class proposals at this point in time.
Okay. And the other.
Because we do have, availability in our parks, outdoors.
Okay.
We can also implement some senior fee-based programs, and we do keep the fees fairly nominal. So
Okay.
we're not charging an arm and a leg for those programs.
Yeah. So something I heard, this is just for the benefit of the commission, something I heard from one of our constituents is that there are not enough classes for guys. So food for thought. Any other changes we want to make to work action plan item 6? No, we're good. And at the bottom of that is conduct surveys as needed for community feedback and input. So that is an outcome as well, to do a survey.
I'm sorry, can you clarify that for me?
So at the bottom of the 2 things that are kind of really driving activities and programs, I've added a potential outcome, which is conduct surveys as needed for community feedback and input. So if we feel for programs for seniors that there needs to be a survey to sort of readjust to what's expected in the
Okay,
community,
so
we can do
my
it.
intention was, work item would be to start with a survey,
Perfect,
okay?
Yeah.
Not in addition to.
yeah. But
Right?
it's just there as an outcome.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay, work action item 7. And again, I tweaked the wording just a little bit because I think in the past meetings, we really wanted to make this more of an active thing rather than a passive, we just heard what AgeWell 2.0 meetings told us. So I've changed that to leverage participation in AgeWell San Diego 2.0 conversations to create recommendations and programs that can directly affect the senior community in Encinitas. So, you can wordsmith it a little bit more, but the bottom line is whatever we learn from AgeWell 2.0 meetings that we participate in, the next step is to figure out how to apply that, whether either as a recommendation or an activity or a program that will benefit City of Encinitas.
Commissioner Koblenz, point of clarification. establish a relationship with the county by actively participating in Age Well San Diego conversation, virtually in person, as it relates to senior wellness, definition of senior wellness.
That's why I changed it.
Thank you.
I took it out. What I said instead, and I'll repeat it, leverage participation in Age Well San Diego 2.0 conversations to create recommendations and programs that can directly affect the senior community in Encinitas. Anybody want to tweak that? Close enough?
The only thing I'm thinking, this is Commissioner Hanwood, is that the Age Well objectives and goals have to do with the whole county. So, I mean, they would include Encinitas just by factor of who they are. But I guess there's no reason why we can't say, put that in there.
Yeah, but I think, again, it's taking a meeting that is attended by relatively few people and helping to figure out how that applies to our city and the 50-plus adult population in our city. Increasing awareness beyond just this commission and figuring out if there are specific activities we can channel or we can even recommend, right? One output could very well be a letter of recommendation or a letter suggesting to City Council or the other commissions that here's something that we don't seem to have this in City of Encinitas. We should probably do this to keep up with Age Well 2.0.
Commissioner Farley, I have a question about, I guess there's going to be a representative here next month to speak from Age Well 2.0, and Manager Goodsell had mentioned that they might not have data on the city of Encinitas, and I was wondering, is there any way we can, I'm sure they have the data, we're part of the county, so is there any way to request ahead of time that they bring the data to that meeting next month so we are better armed with the information?
I think what we're looking for, what Commissioner Farley is legitimately asking for, is can we get a slice of the data that applies specifically to City of Encinitas?
I can certainly see what I can do.
Thank you. So for outcomes of the Age Well San Diego 2.0 work action item, I was going to leave that outcome pretty much verbatim, report findings and best practices in the form of written or verbal reports to the full commission as needed, translate the information into actionable change which enhances the lives of citizens, and then it's back to my favorite 3 Ps again. Plan, provide, and promote new and existing programs as needed. Any changes or concerns? Okay. Let's move on to work action plan item 8. This is our favorite one. It's work collaboratively with city staff and senior citizen commission ad hoc committees to identify and support programs requiring grant funding. So rather than rewrite this one, all I did was, in all the other ad hoc action items, was to remind them that there is a path for funding if it's needed. Okay, any other comments about that one? Work action plan item 9.
I apologize, I do have a comment about this. Do you have a list of maybe grants that are available that we could look out ahead of time so that we could maybe tailor it to the work plan to see if there's some, we could plug in. Is that possible?
Well, from my experiences, Commissioner Hanwett, the best way to go about it is to come up with a good idea and a budget, and then find the funding that fits. Because it's always worked well for me. I think that's, in my opinion, that's probably the best way to do it.
Okay. Work action plan, item 9, which I'm thinking Commissioner Koblenz has a few things to say about this one. Oh, you're muted.
Oops, Commissioner Koblenz. I think having had the experience in the last year, that this is where we would be best served by creating a new survey. And it will dictate what our needs are, our wants are, our desires are. And I think it's a good starting place. I did visit senior centers. I've learned a lot. And again, I want to commend Parks and Recs and Clinton and his staff. They've done an incredible job reopening, and I think that's where we need to start and move forward. And as a result of the survey, we will be in a better position to see where we can maximize what we have and possibly what we can eliminate.
And this is Manager Goodsell. Just for clarification, when you talk about surveys and multiple area outcomes here, are you referring to one survey that would go out through SurveyMonkey and Constant Contact, and then we'd have paper copies we would distribute, collect the data, and then the survey results would be part of the outcome because you've learned something from that survey? Or are you talking multiple surveys?
Potentially.
Or feedback on programs? I just needed some clarification on
Yeah,
that.
so the answer is, I don't think we know. Potentially, it could be multiple surveys because they may be directed to different audiences, but I don't know. I don't think we know yet.
I think, Commissioner Koblenz, I think a good place might be to make a community/senior center survey that might narrow down some of the opportunities that we might have. And then at that point in time, it might dictate and it might not. I think this is a very brave thing that we need to do, and I think this is how we can learn how we will need or not need additional surveys.
This is Manager Goodall. So the survey would go under action item number 9, or would it also go in all of your outcomes?
And I think the answer to that is it depends.
Okay.
It may be an iterative process. So we might have a broad survey under action item 9, and that may spin off more specific surveys to help us narrow down what we want to do for senior programs and intergenerational programs. That's my guess. I think if we try to have one that's too broad, we don't have enough information from the one survey to narrow things down for the others.
If
Commissioner
we're
Koblenz?
targeting a certain audience, we want to target them once and not multiple times with different surveys, unless you're targeting different audiences.
So potentially, I think it might be different audiences, but the
Okay.
other thing, I think, is if we put too much stuff into one survey, nobody's going to finish it,
Right.
right? You want to
I
have
agree.
one short and sweet general survey, and then say, oh, you guys did so good on this survey, we're going to follow up with another one on stuff that you're interested in. So one of the things that could be in the larger survey is, what kind of activities or programs are you interested in? And then the follow-on survey might be narrower in scope.
Commissioner Koblenz, so I made it real simple. I took some of the data from AARP. They had a magnificent survey, but it would take us forever. And I like simplicity. Why do you come to the community/senior center? What would you like to see more of? Question mark. What would you like to see less of? We will tweak that. How can the community/senior center support you, and in what way?
Manager Hamer, I just wanted to also give some input. I have experience doing multiple surveys, and what we have found is many people will think, oh, I already did that survey. And then you say, oh no, this is a different survey. So you do need too many surveys and confusing people. You know, especially if your target is at adults 50 plus, you could start with, have you ever been to the community center, as community senior center? And if they say yes, then your questions continue. And if they say no, then you have other questions, so.
Commissioner Koblenz, thank you very much. The intention is for those to already have been to the senior center, community center, both with the emails, the e-blast, and paper, so it's not really, at least my intention, not have you been to. This is those have experienced it, because I think the opportunity is where we've gone through 3 years of COVID. We need to gather people back and play in a little different way, which was my intention.
As Commissioner Farley, I had an idea about, I used to work at another senior center, and one of the things that we did is we almost created like a kiosk in the entry of the senior center, and we could put a computer there with the survey. People that come in and out of the senior center could answer the survey at the kiosk center.
Commissioner Koblenz, I think that's a wonderful idea. I don't know, based on communication and conversations, that we would have staff and/or someone to do it and set that up, but that could possibly be an opportunity. I was thinking that might involve the city a little bit more than what I think we as commission had done.
Okay, and there's other ways to solve that issue. We can line up volunteers and that kind of thing too, so.
And this is Manager Good, so we just have to be mindful that we're focusing on just strictly the goal, and then how we accomplish those goals will come later because we didn't agendize that.
Yep. So anyway, but you can tell there's a lot of thought going into each of these work plans or items already. Okay, so I would actually ask Commissioner Koblenz, I've been sort of reading off my notes, but I think you have a very specific idea of what you want to have for goal and outcomes for action item 9. So if you can craft that and send your result to Manager Goodsell at the end of this meeting or after this meeting. Okay. Work plan item 10. Research best practices, and I tweaked the language slightly, but research best practices as it relates to senior citizen issues and send letters of support as needed to city council and commissions. The goal is pretty much the same. The outcome is also pretty much the same, but I do have a question, which is one of the things we noticed is we've drafted one letter of encouragement twice because we didn't really get enough acknowledgement from the recipients of the letter. Is it, and I know that there's some restrictions on what we can do in terms of addressing other commissions. So I wanted to ask the question, can we add some visibility when we do these letters of encouragement, these recommendations, by attending city council or the relevant commissions meetings and basically do the 3-minute community speaker?
You absolutely can. This is Manager Goodsell. And if there is action and consensus with the commission on your statement, then you can deliver that message as a commissioner. However, if it's independent thinking, then you would deliver it as a personal, a resident or citizen of Encinitas.
Okay. So if, for example, the commission drafts a letter of encouragement, as we've done in the past, and there is universal, or does it have to be unanimous or universal consensus or majority?
Just the majority.
So if then the majority decide that this is a message that the commission wants to send, be it to city council or another commission, we can represent ourselves as a member of the commission?
That is correct.
Okay. And do our 3-minute.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That's good to know.
This is Commissioner Hamlin. Just for clarification, I'm just wondering if when these letters are sent to city council or other commissions, does anybody ever get a response?
But I know you all received an email response from the city council acknowledging the letter
They acknowledge
and
that they
planning as
received
well,
it,
just acknowledgement.
right? That's what you can expect.
Yes. I think
Okay.
Commissioner Han was looking for something a little bit beyond. Yeah, we got it. We got, so I think, I think we've already got, just from the last couple of meetings, some of the speakers we've had, we have some ideas about new letters of encouragement, for the permit process, for example, and potentially streamlining aging in place modifications to the home the same way that the accessory dwelling units permit process was streamlined. So those are two examples right off the bat.
Commissioner Koblenz, with regard to that, our last speaker in that permitting process, which was a wonderful meeting,
We gave them 90 days.
have we seen any results from that meeting?
No.
So we have to stick with the work plan goal topic here. Thank you.
Thank you. So that was the last. I think that the last two are boilerplate, and they are on the new chair, which is me, to advise city council and then to be present when the city council reviews our proposed work plan. So we are done, and we can go back now, and if you've been keeping up with the various work plan, I'm sure you've kind of marked some of the ones that you're interested in. We do not have two of our commissioners here today. So what I would like to do, just to be kind to them, is there are 7 ad hoc committees, and there are 7 of us when everybody is here. So what I would like to suggest is each of the commissioners who are present can pick 3. And that leaves enough space for the ones who are not attending to drop in. Can we do that? Is that okay? Procedurally, we're okay with that?
Sure.
Okay. So who's ready? Commissioner Tobias, I'll give you first pass.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess I have put tick marks by, I believe it's number 5, number 6, I'm pretty sure. 5, 6, and 10, I would say.
Okay. Commissioner Koblenz?
Commissioner Koblenz, 6, 9, and 10.
Commissioner Hanwitt? 7. Oops.
Is your mic on?
7, 8, and 10.
Commissioner Farley?
A 5, 7, and 10.
This is Manager Gutso. We'll just need one person to excuse themselves from 10 because we have now 4 people that are interested and we can only have a maximum of 3.
I can, excuse me, this is Tobias. I can resign from 10.
Okay.
And I would add, I could add 4, since nobody seems to be on 4.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. And Commissioner Ling, I would like to do 5. Eight and 9. And it looks like we've got so we have at least one person, and then we have two commissioners who will select from what's left. They need to do that in the next regular meeting? Or can they do that before?
That's correct, in the next regular meeting.
Okay.
So I will go ahead, taking all your comments and feedback and suggestions, and retype the work plan, bring it back to the next meeting, and then you can vote on it.
Okay. Thank you, Manager Goodsell. We are done with action item, work plan, we are done with agenda item 8B. We are now on agenda item 8C, which is our proposed meeting dates. And historically, we are dark on July, the months of July and December. Those are the dates that are on our screens now. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting dates as listed?
Commissioner Farley, motion to approve the meeting dates for 2023-24.
Commissioner Farley moves to approve. Do I have a second?
This is Commissioner Hanwood. I second that vote.
Okay, Commissioner Hanwood seconds. Let's go to vote.
And let the record show the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. That gets us up to agenda item 9, informational items. Manager Goodsell, you have a senior center operations report for us.
All right, thank you, Chair Ling. 355 meals were provided at the senior nutrition program in February, and 167 one-way rides were given. There were a total of 805 non-nutrition participants registered for the programs in February. The special nutrition events held this month included a birthday celebration, a St. Patrick's Day party, bingo, and on March 1st, we had a return to plated meals.
Yay.
So thanks to all of our wonderful volunteers and our staff to pull that off, and it's been very successful. Nutrition events next month include birthday Sundays on April 7th, a themed party titled Spring is in the Air on the 12th, a nutrition education presentation titled Creating a Balanced Meal at Home on the 13th, and bingo on the 18th. And on April 22nd, which is a Saturday, the City of Encinitas is hosting Arbor Day at Leucadia Oaks Park, and sign-in begins at 8:30 and tree planting begins at 9 a.m. The recreation guide for spring and summer camps was mailed to all the homes in Encinitas earlier this month, and registration opened on March 6th. It was a very busy day. And I heard the Senior Expo went really well despite the weather. It was downpouring, but there were approximately 85 exhibitors and 189 participants. And I want to thank those of you who volunteered that day to help support the expo. And that concludes my report.
Manager Hamer, do you have department updates?
Yes, I do. For that registration that started for spring, summer, we had a 28% increase in registrations for the spring, summer camps, with some of them filling. So that was a great success, and we hope to see that carry over into summer, which will launch on May 15th. I also want to announce one of the work plan items is we are hosting the spring egg hunt. That's on Saturday, April 8th. That is 10 a.m. to noon. I'm sorry, my button won't hold down. There will be 3 egg hunts, 10:15, 11, and 11:45. We ask if you have any interest to help us. We could use some people to welcome at the event, also to help be some scouts, making sure that the fields are not infiltrated before the hunt begins, as well as crafts, face painting. There'll be a live concert from a Hullaboo band, and the bunny will be there as well, so escorting the bunny around to give their springtime greetings. So I will follow up with all of you to see if you're available that day to help, so please expect an email from me, or you can let me know after the meeting. We also have an update on the Pacific View Art Center, which I know you mentioned. Currently, they have a webpage on the city site, but they are taking a color palette survey. If you haven't seen it yet, I do have a QR code that I can share with you at the end of the meeting, but it's also online. And there's 3 different options. And the Arts Commission, as well as the Cultural Arts Division of our department, is really seeking as much engagement on that survey to make sure these plans are what the community is looking for. So please participate in that survey. And just another brief update, I don't know if you've heard about the stone steps and the closure of that area. Those supplies are very specialized and have been ordered. It should take up to about 6 weeks, but once they are arriving, it'll take about 2 weeks for the contractor to complete those. We are hoping for them to be reopened by summer. No guarantee, but a goal. I also wanted to touch base quickly on our team developing a volunteer opportunities program. This will include not only a web page, but we purchased software called Volgistics, which will be an application for people to apply online or in person to be part of a volunteer opportunity. And this is something that we could interlink with some of the work plan goals that you all have, as well as bringing volunteers to some of the different items that you want to host or participate in. So this will hopefully be happening, the plan is, in April. It's National Volunteer Week, April 17th to the 23rd. And so we're hoping to have a large launch for that and really integrate the community into all that we do. Definitely senior services, whether it's the nutrition program, perhaps free walking club, or some of the different items you have talked about, and working with the library and working with those spaces to offer more free and accessible programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Manager Hamer. By the way, I volunteered at the egg hunt last year. For all the time it takes to set up, those eggs go really fast. Yeah, in minutes.
Commissioner Koblenz, can I ask a question about an update? The sinkhole on Lake? Any update as to the ETA? I'm only asking because it's in my backyard.
I do not have a specific update for that, but I know the city website is constantly putting the data and statistics on there, so I can look that up and send that to you.
They are doing a wonderful job. I've met a lot of them. I know when they're coming and when they're going. It tells me how we're going. Just a question. Thank you.
Yes, the weather has not helped those initiatives, for sure.
Okay, that brings us to agenda item 10. Are there any commission member-initiated agenda items? No, there are not. Item 11, commissioners, are there any agenda items that you would like to add for next time beyond what's in our normal agenda?
So, Commissioner Tobias, in my newbie role of looking things up on the Encinitas website, I find it sometimes nearly impenetrable.
You're not the only one.
It seems to me that there must be something, some points of frustration that we have all encountered. And perhaps we should have some way of
So you
providing
missed,
some feedback to the powers that be.
yeah, you missed last month's meeting when we had a number of people who were not very happy with the permitting process being 100% online. So it's not a uncommon experience that you're having?
Well, I'm not so concerned about the permitting process, perhaps because I'm not looking for a permit. But for example, when you go to the Senior Citizen Commission, it tells people who the names are, but it doesn't have a link to the agenda or the minutes. It seems to me simple things like that would facilitate my use of it.
Yeah.
And-
There actually is a link, but it's pretty subtle.
Oh, well, it's beyond me. Okay, I'm not very subtle. And for example, to say when our friends over here say, go on the website and vote for the color palette, good luck. is all I could say. I mean, maybe it's obvious, but to everybody else, but not to me.
Okay, so I think with that observation, we are actually officially in the roundtable part of the agenda. So you're okay. Any other comments, Commissioner Tobias?
I would like to add, the QR codes are really, really helpful on a lot of our documentation. I think it kind of eliminates a little bit of the website navigation, so I just wanted to put that out. It's much easier for me.
Okay. Commissioner Koblenz, you have anything to add for roundtable? No. Commissioner,
Yes, I do. I'm sorry. I do want to commend you, Chair Lambert, and the magnificent event that you held, your techie event. I learned a lot, not computer-wise, but it was a wonderful opportunity for me to engage with some of the seniors and a little bit of the youth. Wonderful, wonderful event. I'll look forward to more of it.
and I have to give credit where credit is due. There are some very, very enthusiastic and hardworking youth commissioners involved in that activity. So they were the ones who pulled together all the volunteers. We were, as the older contributors to that activity, we had experience on our side, so we could say, well, you may want to do this, you may want to do that, but they put in a lot of work. The flyer was one of the youth commissioners' design, so that one got a lot of attention, I think.
I would, Mr. Chairman, I would like to second Commissioner Koblenz's kudos on that event. And I wonder if we should have some sort of formal recognition going to the Youth Commission.
That's a good idea. So can we put that on the agenda for next meeting?
So we would need to go back to agenda item
Sorry,
11.
11.
And then we would need the consensus of 2 commissioners.
Okay. Commissioner
Or
Koblenz and-
if you want to wait until you approve the work plan at the next meeting, you can report out when it comes to intergenerational for that category and state that you're going to write a thank you note, or you're going to, present kudos to them, or whatever it is you decide to do.
Okay, can we
So-
have, okay, so it's still going to be a 2-step process, I think. The next meeting, we will formally discuss that we're going to do this, and then the following meeting, we'll approve.
Well, so you're going to approve the work plan, correct, at your
Right.
next meeting? But you're also going to report out any outcomes that you have.
Okay,
Because I know you're going to continue your work this month.
yes. I'm just thinking in terms of timing, because the Youth Commission basically convenes in May. I think that's correct.
So could we go to the Youth Commission and present them with a special recognition?
You certainly could.
Okay. Can that be asynchronous to our regular meeting?
So
Or we could,
Staff
or,
Gilliam, do you have any comments on that or recommendations on how to proceed with that?
Possibly the senior commission could be a special presentation on the youth commission agenda.
I think that, can we arrange that?
I think we know some people.
Okay, good. And their meeting is beginning each month.
First Wednesday of the month.
Yeah. Okay, so let's plan on that.
So no separate agenda item then for next month?
No, we'll just
Okay.
skip ahead.
It'll be a presentation,
Yes.
correct? Okay, thank you.
And we can have either an individual commissioner, or we can have the previous intergenerational ad hoc commission.
Do we need a motion on this, Julie?
I mean, not if they're going to be a special presentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
But just a reminder, we only have 6 minutes left on this
Yes.
meeting.
Yep, and so very quickly, let's wrap up the roundtable discussion. Commissioner Koblenz, I think, was just finishing up.
That does it for me, thank you.
Commissioner Hanwit?
I would also like to emphasize how wonderful that event was, and it was so well organized, and I was so happy that so many people took advantage of it.
Commissioner Farley? No? I had the pleasure of doing the community grant panel. That was an adventure. So I think there's room for improvement, and I'm looking forward to another meeting to work on the process for that. That's it. With that, I would like to adjourn the March 21st, 2023 Senior Citizen Commission meeting at 3:55 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Not quite down to the wire like last time.
I have flyers down here from the speakers.
Okay. Thank you.
I want to show them the QR code.
Library, and this is.
Christy, did you scan this card too, or?
No, because I didn't, I just got it.
You just got it?
Just now,
Okay.
somebody handed it to me when I
Let
walked in.
let me get it back to you, and then you can.
I'll scan it and send it out.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I had to keep pressing